Well, hey, it's good to see you again. My name is Jay Ben, and welcome back to another Wax Showcase video where I'm going to draw a line in the sand. Do not read the Latin. It is April 1st, and we have no jokes for you today. None whatsoever.
Speak for yourself. Read this, you organ carrier.
What the fuck do you mean? This fool in here is this guy.
April Fools, look at you.
You think he's funny?
Look on your face now.
You guys think he's funny?
Wait.
Think he's funny? Think he's real funny?
Wait.
Alright, have you learned your lesson now?
Yep, loud and clear.
Good. We're going to show you some awesome records in my collection, as we always do. But first, we're going to start by what is playing in my tape deck, just right over here today. And that is going to be Coffin Feeder with Dominion of Torment, released in 2025 on Sewer Rot Records. This has been, honestly, one of the best releases I've heard of the year so far. Seriously, as you're going to hear in the background, these dudes know death metal, these guys know brutality, these guys know heavy. I cannot wait to see what these guys get up to just yet. I picked up the tape edition. As a matter of fact, I got it in today as of filming this, and figured throw it right in the deck and film the video. So here we are. Anyways, Coffin Feeder, Dominion of Torment. Go check it out. Links in the description, as always. Well, while we're on the topic of brand new releases this year, let's talk about an old favorite band with a brand new set of releases. I am talking about Gates to Hell. This is Death Comes to All, and this is the Next to Bleed Resurrected 7-inch, both released in 2025 on Nuclear Blast Records. These guys I've been following since right before they signed to Maggot Stomp Records a couple of years ago. The 7-inch down for just the time being. But this is their latest full-length album, entitled Death Comes to All. Basically just a bunch of death metal and hardcore loving dudes out of Louisville, Kentucky. These guys are awesome. Seeing them live just before this album came out was a big treat. We got to hear a lot of that sound that made them famous, but also a good number of tracks off of here as well, particularly Next to Bleed, 21 Sacraments, and the title track. Though I've also kind of come to love Weeping in Pain, Sacrificial Deed, and Fused with the Soil. There was one track that ended up being released on the 7-inch here that we also got to hear, and that was entitled Resurrected. That was sort of their like standalone single before they ended up announcing this record. This was kind of like a standalone to Nuclear Blast, and I'm kind of glad they ended up putting it on vinyl format, because I feel like it was right at home on this record, and I don't know why. So, interesting things going on there. Either way, just one of the heaviest bands going right now. Again, not just death metal, not just hardcore, but both as well. The 7-inch comes on this transparent red, limited to 750 copies. And the full-length album comes on this blue transparent with black and purple splatter. Limited to 300 copies. This was the band web store variant exclusive. I ended up seeing the alt cover versions, and I'm kind of upset I didn't know about it beforehand. I very much would have picked it up. It was the exact same variant as that one. It was limited to 666 copies, hand numbered. The artwork on this release is gorgeous. There go the stickers. I'll show those off here in just a second, but I don't know who did the artwork on this, but massive props to them. I'm going to leave their name right here on screen so you can go check them out and look at all their old work there. But for any of you that have no idea about the death metal scene or more just familiar with hardcore, you might recognize Trey there as Trey Garris, the brother of Brian Garris of Knocked Loose. So ties to some pretty heavy hardcore bands, especially in the American scene, and it's good to see him making waves in more than just a couple of bands. He's also in XIII, if I believe correctly, and those stickers with the Nuclear Blast logo with that awesome Death Comes to All little gradient on there. Absolutely gorgeous. I ended up getting 2 of them. Massive thank you to the band for sending this out and make sure it arrives safely. We've also got the Resurrected and Next to Bleed split, but Gates to Hell, brand new music, go check them out. Links to those in the description. Buy a copy if you haven't. These dudes are awesome. I can't wait for them to come back to Austin. Alright, we're going to dive backwards just a touch because I've been jamming some older records, especially from the early 90s, and this one being an absolute favorite of mine. I'm really happy I have this on vinyl. Amorphous, the Karelian Isthmus, released in 1992, originally on Nuclear Blast Records, but now this issue was done on Relapse Records. My particular version is the 2018 reissue. This record is, for me, the band's magnum opus. It did not get any better than this, except for maybe the EP that came just before that. And I'll give Tales from a Thousand Lakes a decent push, but I feel like it was definitely shying away from this. This record is nothing but sheer, filthy, disgusting death doom. Corellia has been just an incredible, interesting opening track. I love Warrior's Trial, Black Embrace, The Lost Name of God. That intro riff is insane. And also we've got the Abhorrence Vulgar Necrolarity cover on here as a bonus track. So, early Amorphous is one of those things. I will die on that hill that early Amorphous is better than later Amorphous. I did very much like the last two albums that they did, but everything kind of in between has been very hit or miss for me here as of late. The artwork on this edition is just absolutely gorgeous. Pardon the sunlight there, but absolutely awesome. Kind of reminds me of the Fourth Crusade by Bolt Thrower in a interesting form. My variant is this gorgeous red and blue merge with silver splatter. Basically picture perfect. Absolutely gorgeous. I love it to death. I'm happy to have a copy of this in my collection. Once again, that is Amorphous, the Karelian Isthmus. Alright, let's stay on sort of that early 90s train, but we're going to move kind of more into that brutal death metal scene, kind of what Coffin Feeder's bringing up here, but we're talking about the legends from Baltimore, Maryland, Dying Fetus. This is their demo entitled Infatuation with Malevolence, released in, I believe, 1994, originally on tape, but done in 2024 on Profane Tones Records. This is a release I never thought I would own on vinyl. I never thought it would happen, but alas, here it is, in all of its glory. This is the band in a four-piece format with Rob Belton, John Gallagher, Jason Netherton, and Brian Latta, which would go on to do the first record immediately after it, and some of the band members would kind of rotate in and out of a lot of those northeast scene up there, especially Jason Netherton, who you might know better from Misery Index. This particular release features some tracks that would kind of later go on to be cuts of theirs, such as Purge My Worldly Being and Eviscerated Offspring, but you've got tracks on here like And the Weak Shall Be Crushed and Visualize Permanent Damnation, which didn't end up making anything outside of this demo, as far as I'm aware. I will probably correct myself on screen here, but this particular edition was put together by Jason Netherton. As you can see, he put together this whole sort of little synopsis and almost a callback to everything that the band had done up to that point, and then sort of following it to a degree. This particular version was limited to 500 copies on black vinyl. It is a single-sided LP, so let's show you the actual label, shall we? 500 copies on standard gram black vinyl, limited to 500 copies. I am surprised that this got the treatment that it did. I also have the Bathe in Entrails LP somewhere in my stack over here. Maybe we'll show that off in another video, but in the meantime, Dying Fetus, Infatuation with Malevolence, such a killer demo. Raw, brutal. Nothing like it really in the scene at the time. Maybe Skidless, maybe some other smaller bands in there, but these guys are definitely the forefront. Dying Fetus, Infatuation with Malevolence. Check it out. Alright. We're going to dive back to the modern day for these last two. And this particular one is a local cut that I'm sure not a lot of people know about. And if you don't, consider this your invitation to check them out. This is Glassing with From the Other Side of the Moon, released in 2024 on Pelagic Records. Yes, that Pelagic Records that did a bunch of awesome bands, including the Ocean Collective. But these dudes are just a nice mix of black metal and post-hardcore. I'm almost sort of tempted to throw them kind of in that same sort of Spider God, but these guys play a lot more off that post-hardcore where Spider God does a lot more of the metalcore and a little bit of just traditional hardcore. But anyways, this record is insane, and would you know it, I have the test press too. The test press is signed, once again, pardon the lighting, is signed by all 3 of the members. I had the pleasure of catching these guys at Free Week in Austin in 2024, but we saw tracks like Defacer, Circle Down, and I want to say it was Nominal Will off the top of my head. I don't remember. I'll put it on screen if I can remember it, of course, but the artwork on this is absolutely gorgeous, and the songwriting on this is just immense. It is emotional, it is powerful, it is breathtaking, it is everything of those things all at once. My particular variant is the Nominal Will edition, which is this black inside clear, which was limited to 200 copies. Consider this your invitation. One of the best bands going in the Austin scene right now. These guys have been flying the Texas black metal and post-metal hardcore flags as high as possible, and it's great to see these guys do well. When I picked up the test press here, they were actually ended up getting stuck in Europe after some terrible, terrible circumstances, so happy to support these guys and bring them back home to Austin, where they are heralded as absolute legends. So, glassing from the other side of the moon, go and check it out. These dudes fucking rule. Now that we've solved the window issue, we got one more record to talk about today, and that is going to be a band that we saw here very recently, the Empire Garage, and that is Alceste. This is their 2024 album entitled Le Chant de l'Aurore, released in 2024 on Nuclear Blast Records. Apologies for my French, in the sense that I can't speak French, but I tried, okay? Anyways, these guys are particularly known as black gaze, sort of that black metal shoegaze, a lot of post-metal, a lot of ambient stuff on here. This record is insane. This is just 7 tracks of pure beauty, and ended up placing very, very high on my list. I don't remember exactly what placement off the top of my head, but it ended up placing, right? Not bad. Seriously, not bad. I think it was in my top 25, top of my head. But particular tracks on here such as Komaribi, L'Envol, Amethyst, and Le Dieu being some incredible cuts on there. Seeing these guys live was an experience and a half, and honestly, I feel like I'm much better off for it. They hadn't played the United States in almost 6 calendar years, so being front row and center to watch these guys perform was absolutely incredible, especially hearing these cuts in a live setting. My particular edition came with a signed print by Mr. Nage himself, and my variant is the picture disc edition, which was limited to 1,800 copies. There were 300, I believe, with the signed insert, and it was an Eyesore merch exclusive. I don't think any of these variants have sold with the signed card on it, so needless to say, I'm super happy to have one. There was no insert with this, and I don't know why, but I will take this as a bonus little addition to it as well. If you somehow have not heard this record and you just want to mellow out and listen to some super, super vibey music, Alceste is the way to go. I think this might be sitting in my top 3 favorite Alceste records behind Spiritual Healing and their 2012 album. But in case you haven't heard it, consider this your invitation to do so. Alceste, Le Chant de l'Aurore, released on Nuclear Blast Records. And that is going to wrap it up for today's episode. Thank you very, very much for watching. Thank you guys so much for the support here over the last couple of videos. That Tribal Gaze video did absolutely incredible. My tape video did absolutely incredible. And thank you for supporting my friends in Varanth over on their Live at the Crowbar video. I have some awesome things planned with those guys in physical media form, so stay tuned. I will be sure to talk about it right here on the channel. Just a little preview for you there, but hope you guys are doing well. Stay safe, stay metal, and I'll see you next time.